Hello again, Arcade1up fans. This is Brian here, and I'm here to tell you about all the cosmetic mods I've made to my Terminator 2 Judgment Day arcade cabinet from Arcade1up. I love to change these machines up to make them look more closely to the original arcade cabinet. Arcade1up does a great job lately making these cabs look more and more like the original, but they still miss out on a lot of little details that I know there's a lot of people out there like me that wants to see these additional details like game logos, the light up buttons on the coin door, and other little things. So I'm going to show you everything that I've done to this cabinet so far, and afterwards I'm going to show you another mod that I'm planning to do to finish this cabinet off. So starting off right here, you can see that there is a lit coin door, an upgraded marquee, guns have been painted, you'll see a Midway logo, and you also see some red pinstripe taping I've done on the side, which I'm going to start with. So bringing the camera around here, you can notice that this arcade cabinet, the side panels are just all blue on the edges. On the original arcade cabinet, there is a red trim around on the outside of it. So what I used was some red masking tape. I've used masking tape a lot on these cabinets for just simple little details like this along the actual trim of the cabinets, just change it up if I want to. And I've used it mostly on the risers though. But I went on in and did a nice trim going all the way around. And the way I did this was, before I even built the cabinet, I painstakingly measured this all up to get the nice trim going all the way down to the bottom. At the very bottom of this cab though, at the bottom, it does not need the trim, as it is on the original cabinet. It goes all the way up. It's about, it's almost a ½ inch out. I wouldn't go any further than that though. Mine's a little less than a ½ inch. I did a ½ inch at first and it just seemed to be a little too thick. So I think I brought in another 1/8 of an inch less. As you can see where there was extra pieces, but I just blended in well as best I could. Yes, it's masking tape, but I like the masking tape because it gives this nice little texture, which is what you see on the original, their T-molding that they have, the fake T-molding. But just gives a nice detail to it. Just adds a lot more. And I really think this red striping on the edges of the side panels just makes that blue pop even more, and again making it look even more like the original cabinet. So that was my first mod. The second one that I did was from Sazbell's Arcade. I bought his Midway logo, and as you can see I added that on, which anybody that looks to buy these, if it's perfectly, it is supposed to be a little bit more centered, rising up in this area here, but as you can see the screw's in the way. But I fit it just in between the screw in case I need to undo the cabinet one day for anything else, or replace a side panel or so forth. That goes on nicely, and you can see the red trim around the lettering matches the trim on the side panels. So those were placed in the best possible position I can. It looks almost centered within the top and bottom. There's two of these, one on each side. I think this cost 35 bucks for these 3 decals. The third decal is the one here on the front at the bottom on the original cabinet. Sorry for my finger there. This white Midway logo was placed right here, also from Sazbell's Arcade, so you get all 3 decals, and it belongs right here above the T2 logo. Another thing that was missing from this cabinet. The next mod was I was able to get an extra Arcade1up 3D printed coin door. Not 3D printed, sorry, they're coin doors. What happened was, when I purchased my Killer Instinct cabinet, and I opened it up, all excited, I noticed that there was this little tiny scratch. Let me see if I can get up there. It's kind of dark in here, I don't know if you can see it. But like right here, there's this little scratch that looked indented. I mean, it is nothing, but I saw it. I was like, what? You know, what the hell? So, I put a ticket in with Arcade1up. I said, hey, I got this scratch in my coin door. Can I get a new one? They sent me out a new one. As you can see, I got that new one on there for my Killer Instinct. I was like, awesome. I got a second coin door. This cabinet needs the coin door. As you can see, the coin door really brings this cabinet together. Like, look at that. Looks beautiful. That big black space just needed something. And that's exactly where the original coin door is, minus the coin box that's supposed to be below, but this is obviously a smaller cabinet. Next mod was from Retro 530. The light up coin buttons that I bought. Hooked those up, had to drill holes in the back, and just plugged it into the USB. Works great, looks great. I will say trying to get this coin door on was a little bit of a pain, trying to get it even on each side, placing it between here and the lettering. That took a little bit, just to drill the holes properly. And the other problem is I can literally just pull this coin door right off because I don't have the back screws to put it on, but it stays on pretty good. I gotta find some small screws and washers to put on the inside, like the coin door that goes on their newest cabinets. But there it is with the coin door. Great mod. Come down to the right side of the cabinet quick, and you'll see again I got all the red trim again with the other side with the Midway logo, trim going all the way around. I just think it looks great with that red trim. It really pops, makes that cabinet stand out. Alright, moving on to my next mods to this cabinet. Cosmetic mods, I'd say. Had to paint the guns. Had to paint the guns. The blue and red had to go. I used a semi-gloss Rust-Oleum spray paint. What I did with these guns was I took out all the screws. I didn't want to paint the screws over. They're already black. Didn't want to add extra. If I want to unscrew it one day and get all stuck. I taped up the trigger with painter's tape. I taped up the bottom wire with painter's tape. Put some tape over the plastic lens here. I took the screws out. Did a couple layers of paint. Make sure in your spray paint you want to be at least 6 inches away. Start off really lightly at first with a very sporadic spray and just do a nice coat. But they came out really well. They have a nice little shine to it like the original arcade. Not too shiny. Semi-gloss is the way to go. I even went as far as to cut some extra vinyl I had from decals. Anything I cut off of decals, I hold on to it. These buttons are supposed to be red, so I just made it circle as best I could. It could look better. As you can see, it's a little wobbly on the edges, but I stuck those on there. They have that red grenade button, so those pop out. And that is on both guns, as you can see. And the black just brings it all together again. Some people have done matte, some people have done gunmetal. Again, my goal is to make these look just like the original, as close as possible. Now on the control panel, there's a couple things going on here. You'll notice that there is no wires sticking out. A lot of people did this mod way back. I didn't build this cabin until April, and it was sitting in my basement since February, so I was a little late. But I've been seeing everybody, like, they drilled holes into this, the plastic to put the wires down. And still you see like the wire popping out and going down in. Didn't have to do that. What I did was simple. All I did was just, I'll show you here in a second. All I did was just cut a hole right there using a drill bit, a large drill bit. A nice simple hole that's wide enough to fit the plug attachment right in there. The wire slides in and out, no problem whatsoever. And as you see, the wire sits right there. There's the other side. Plenty of room. I can reach it out and unplug it if I need to. And I'm going to come back to these guns and tell you next mod I'm going to try and attempt. But we'll come back to that after. Oh, also, the guns. Kind of an unnecessary mod. I've been trying to figure out if it made a difference. I actually went inside these guns because that clicking sound is a little distracting. It's a little loud. I remember in the arcade it's a little more muffled. More about feeling the gun more than hearing it, like the knocker. I was trying to get that effect versus the really loud knocking that these have. Gotta dust that off already. But what I did is I pulled this apart. Although you can't, this part here at the front, this cap, I couldn't pull off. I didn't want to risk breaking it, so I just kind of pried it open. I put in foam. All this foam that we get from Arcade1up, this stuff I've been using a lot. It's thick. I use a lot of thin ones. So I basically made some insulation on the inside all around the motor that spins the plastic thing in here. I put some on the top, the back, just to give it some muffled look. I was going to even add a little more weight to these guns, but I realized it didn't need it, not necessary. But the muffleness, I think it does a little bit. See if you can hear, I don't know. I feel like it sounds the same. I think there's a slight muffle to it. It's not as high pitched. It's a little muffleness to it. But, you know, I gave it a shot. Probably could maybe, I mean, there's only so much room in there, but it worked out cutting this foam board to the sizes to fit. It's like a little pattern inside, and I just get all the little nook and crannies to get in there as close as possible to the little motor that's in there. So I did that to both guns. Here's what the other one sounds like. I mean, and plus, when you got the music going in the game, you don't really hear the clicking as much, so I guess it does add a little muffleness to it. Makes it more like the original cabinet. So since I hid the wires from the guns, I just went and bought 2 screws here to cover up the holes, and underneath there's a bolt holding it in. I found paint to match the red. The blue is a little darker, but it does a job. Actually, this blue matches more of the blue button. This blue is a little lighter, as you can see, but it's all covered up, no holes, good to go. I replaced the white live button with a black button so it blends in with the background. I didn't like seeing that big white button sticking out. I even covered up the live logo with Sharpie, which I'm doing. Actually, I did my Killer Instinct tab as well. And you'll notice too, there's some writing here that's not on your cabinet that you have now. The original cabinet across the top up here has the Midway. It says Terminator 2 Judgment Day, as you see here. I really wanted this on this cabinet because, again, it's just a black area. It's missing it. So what I did here is that I bought from Arcade Graphics, I bought his Marquee peel and stick vinyl, non-translite. His marquees, I've noticed, they're a little more small. They're like shrunken down a little bit, so everything's a little smaller than the original. So I pondered, I was like, maybe the wording will probably fit just right, and I knew it because I did a similar mod with my Killer Instinct, like I'm going to show in a different video. But I basically just cut out the lettering in the marquee. Basically, I just cut along the whole bottom, just 2 cuts. And yes, I did go in and cut out some in between the layers, not all of them, but just enough to make it look clean. And this fit, as you can see, perfectly here. There is an Arcade1up logo here. It's white. That's all covered up. We don't see that. And look at it. It looks awesome. Looks more like the original cabinet. Brings it all together. Judgment Day fits very nicely right there between the live button and below the volume and power button. At first I was going to lower the Terminator down to cover up the on and off button, but I thought it worked well. I left them in there. Midway is nicely spaced between the screen and here. This is all one piece you're seeing here. This is all one piece. All one piece. I connected the T and D, I left that together. And boom, looks awesome. The only problem is when I did this mod, the start button here, the start lettering, well, that is here, and part of it is here. So we couldn't see that because it was overlapping with the 2 and the T. So I covered that up again with the Sharpie. Sharpie comes in handy great. Worked out really nice. And I actually am going to print out 2 start button logos and replace them to put it here and right here, because normally they're supposed to be here, but there's no room on the original cabinet. So I'll get those in there soon. There'll be a little very last minute detail. The next one I was really excited for, which the bezel. So down here, this is what it should look like. The graphic with John Connor and Sarah Connor, there's this larger graphic of them. And actually this one is a little smaller than it should be. This is my second graphic I got printed. It's from a guy in Etsy, which I'll put a link down of the guy who I got from for anyone else that's looking for this. But the first image that I got from him, it was really stretched out. This is actually supposed to be a little longer. This is supposed to go, it's so dark in here. Right here. So this should line up right to here on both sides. That's where this whole box should be, all the way to here. Same thing with here, it should be all the way up to the blue here. Well, when the guy did that one, this got all stretched, and like this was shorter, and I didn't like it. And he didn't tell me that it came out that way. So he tried a new size, it came out this way. It's bigger, it still doesn't fit fully. I wish it was a little larger. It's so close. I honestly don't know why. you can kind of see where the line is here. I don't know why this whole thing can't fit that image to be exactly that size. He was saying something about the measurements, so stretch it out. I don't know. It's like, why can't it just be zoomed out a little bit? But it does the job. It's much bigger. Your cabinets that you guys have just says Terminator 2 right here, and this logo is like really small over here, and I just didn't want that. Again, I wanted to make it look more original. And this is how it looks. And you'll see on this original cabinet, it's really, sorry for my dark video, but this is all gray right here on the edging. I have black right there. I think I'm going to cut off this little strip so I can see the gray continue down. So you got that continuous gray all the way around the edging. You can see here too, it's too dark, but you get the idea. See a little light there. This should, I'll cut this strip off. The only problem with that is you're going to see part of the Terminator logo, the lettering right here. So I don't know what I'm going to do. It's not that big of a deal. But I just left it all black all the way across. And the original cabinet is all black down there. But I also don't like this. I don't like that I got this line here. It just seems a little sloppy. I'd like to have it full all the way. Just like the original sticker I had. But again, it was stretched out. Maybe I'll sell that one. Maybe someone out there will want it. It doesn't look too awful. So that is the screen. I had a previous video where I showed that I recessed the screen. You can see that here. It's set back further. I routed out on the other side of the edges of the side panels. It fits back there. I have a whole video on that. You guys can watch that one. I kind of just explain the process and show the different viewing points of how it looks from different heights, different angles, and so forth. But this is how, again, this is how the cab should be. They could have easily recessed the screen, no problem. Moving on from there, let's go up. We got the Marquee from Bezel's Arcade. Honestly, I thought the original Marquee looked great from the reviews, but then some of the ones I noticed it looked a little washed out. But I was really bothering me that there was no Midway logo. I thought maybe I'll do like what I do with Arcade Graphics and just cut one out and put it up there. I did that with my Outrun cabinet where there's a Sega logo on it. It works just fine. I think that Marquee looks great. But then I also realized that the Marquee from Arcade1up didn't look right as well. Arnold Schwarzenegger's head was much larger, and the gun was like cut off halfway, and I was like, that's not how it looks. So I had to go for it. This was 40 bucks. Looks great, slides right in, and you can just see the colors are great. Got the proper blue on Arnold. You see the full gun. You got the Midway logo. It's a no-brainer. I don't know if you can notice another thing I've done to this Marquee. You'll notice on your cabinets that you have now that the trim in the front is red, top and bottom. That's not how it looks in the arcade. It's supposed to be black. Red trim here, yes, that's correct. So, I used again masking tape. Masking tape is great media using this. See, there's that texture again. And I just lined it up, cover it. It stays on. It doesn't peel off. It's easy to peel off if you want to remove it or it gets damaged. Easy fix, no problem. Same deal. I had the red masking tape that I did with the side trim. So yeah, just coming back, you'll see with that black trim, it just kind of blends in more with that Marquee, makes it pop instead of the red distracting from it. Last but not least, for sound wise, I had to put in the Z313 subwoofer. That's sitting in the bottom of the cabinet, placed in there. Up here at the top of the cabinet, that's where I got the volume dongle. Easy to turn on, can control the volume. The wiring, I simply just put in the back here. I cut out a little notch here in the H panel so that the wires can pass through. Everything's nice and clean. You notice down here there's two wires there. Power wire, that is the wire for the subwoofer. I cut a little notch in there again so it could pass through, get plugged in, good to go. Great sound. I highly recommend getting the Z313 subwoofer for a lot of these cabinets. I simply plug the stock speaker wire right inside the back of the subwoofer. A lot of people like to get new speakers, or they use both the Z13 speakers as well. The stock ones work great. Sounds great. No issues there. I don't mind it. I'll use them until they go bad, I guess, and then upgrade. And I believe that is everything on this cabinet that I have done cosmetically. Just if anybody out there is really interested, I hope this inspires you. I know I'm not the only one out there that likes to change things up, make it look more like the original. And that's really all I have for this cabinet. I hope I'm not missing anything, which I don't think I am. But there is one more thing I'm going to do to this cabinet, and that involves with the guns. We want to get these guns into a fixed position like the original cabinet, but still have the option to remove them. So I'm going to try something out here. I had a couple of ideas. I thought, oh, maybe we can slide this out a little bit to get the distance, because minimum you need about 18 inches away. That's like minimum. Okay, that's if you don't like, you can stand about that close. It works. I've tested it. Probably 20 inches is a little better. And definitely with the recessed monitor, it helps. If you keep the monitor at the front, fixed position is not going to work because you're going to have to be back much further. But with the recessed back more, I gained like an extra 12 inches, I think it is, on top of this area from here to back here. So it comes like about almost 18. But I went on Amazon. I was like, the gun holsters, they're supposed to be raised up. Really, this should be up about here. Okay. So I found these electrical boxes on Amazon right here. Great size. The length is perfect. It's the same length as these side views, but the width is a little skinnier. It's not a deal breaker. You can see here, it's not too far off. We're talking like just like maybe a quarter of an inch shorter. So I tested it. These things can fit on top. And you'll see here that in these boxes, I pull this next one over here. There's screws that unscrew it. Okay, it's hollow inside. That hollowness means that I can fit this, because these holsters have this where the gun sits in. Well, this will fit right down in here, where I can basically close this up and make like a box. I have this sit on here like so, raise that up like that, and then the next mod after that, well, we gotta figure out what is this gun gonna sit on, so it's on that pole like the original, so that the gun can, because in the fixed position arcade, the gun basically is up here. You can rock it forward, you can rock it back, and you can turn it left or right. That's it. So with that, what I was thinking was find some type of pole to keep it in there where I can still like spin it and just rock it back and forth. But then if I don't want to use it, I can still just pull it out and play from a distance. You won't be stuck in a fixed position. Have both options. Now you're probably wondering, what about the distance? Yes, I can do this, and that can just be aesthetically if I choose not to make the guns rock back and forth and turn in the fixed position. But what about the distance? These guns are up close to the panel. Well, I bought some, I'm blanking on the name here. Rails, drawer rails. These are 6 inches. All right, I bought 4 of these. This will pull out 6 inches, and I think my measurements, I just can't remember right now, but I'm basically going to screw down this box to these, and you're going to see here that, drop anything, these, sorry for the camera work here, that fits right inside there. This will sit on top, screwed in, bolted in to the bottom. I'll bolt it to the base, and basically this will slide out, giving you that proper distance, and then have the fixed gun position. That in a nutshell is my idea. Gotta find time to do it. Maybe I'll be the first to do it. I'm hoping to try and work on it very, very soon. See if it works. Definitely gonna try to set up the box first with the rails. The very last part would be the fixed gun position, but have the option of fixed and also pull the gun out. So we'll see what happens. But that is it for today. Those are all my cosmetic mods. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I really hope this inspires people, for those of you that like to do these same type of mods and make these cabinets look even closer to the original. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Happy to help, give you any ideas. I'm planning on doing some more videos like this to show you all my cabinets and the stuff I've done to them to make them look more original. And if you do like this, please like and subscribe to my channel. I appreciate it. And until then, I'll see you later.